Today we're painting a moody, misty cityscape. We'll use a layered wet-in-wet approach, simple, dramatic and reusable for similar scenes. First, a tip. Practice a couple of key moments before you go to your final sheet, especially the sky. You'll need to work fast and confidently there. Hesitate and it turns muddy. So, 2 quick practice runs, then jump into the drawing. The sketch is straightforward. We'll keep a light glow on the horizon. I won't outline specific clouds, just a loose atmospheric band. On the horizon there are thin glowing strips, maybe distant city lights. There's also likely a river or a road catching light. That's our bright focal line. Mark those glowing bits right away. Foreground. The city sits roughly on the lower third, with a road that narrows sharply into perspective. Blocks of buildings help lock the composition. Don't be afraid to let a tall tower break the horizon line. Adds character. Step back and check the balance. Even in a loose pencil, you should already read the scene. I'll preserve a few pure whites, leave them as paper. Watch how I do the sky. This part is quick, all while the sheet is wet, so timing matters. Practice it once or twice. After that, the rest is slower and easier. Right now, I wet the entire sheet, except the places I want to stay bright white. The river stays dry. Tiny circles for street lamps, dry. Everything else gets an even, generous soak. Don't worry if you wash over the buildings at this stage. It's fine to really hydrate the paper. Now I pick up my blue for the sky. Think a classic ultramarine cobalt vibe. I lay a gradient wash, richer at the top and softening as I move down, and I stop just before the very bottom. Then I drop in a warm light near the horizon, a mix of yellow with a touch of orange. Next, I shift to a soft neutral made from blue and a reddish brown, mixing gentle greys. I leave a few tiny specks of white here and there, little breaths of light. Tilt the board so the wash moves beautifully. I start filling everything except the river. Let the colour gather softly. It will lighten as it dries. Work quickly. This is the all-wet moment. While it's still damp, I lift little lamp glows with a cotton swab. I also lift a few soft cloud shapes with a clean brush. If needed, I nudge in a touch more grey from the same mix. Now I take a tissue and blot a few mists. The tissue gives crisper edges and that foggy drama. While it's still moist, I add a couple of warm, pale highlights, glimmers of yellow. Along the river edge, I run a yellow-orange so it blooms softly, no hard line. Let it bead and drift a bit. That glow is our star. Through the river's centre, I go with a barely damp, almost dry brush and feather those edges so the light feels diffused. If a passage looks too dark, lift a touch more. Don't be shy. On to the midground, a few gentle spots and stripes on the buildings, tiny islands of tone. Go easy. Keep it airy, not heavy. Now I mix my city colour, ultramarine, a bit darker than the sky, tempered with brown. I'll use this for most of the architecture, occasionally dropping in small variations to keep it interesting. Work with the biggest brush you can handle. It keeps shapes clean and confident. I block in the first row of buildings. If a patch is still slightly damp, let the paint soften into it. Lovely atmosphere. You can hint at a few warm windows with tiny touches of yellow. Then pull a bit of that tone downward for soft reflections. Let it dry. Mix a deeper, more saturated ultramarine, still with a touch of brown. Second row now, no pre-wetting, just a firm brush and decisive shapes. As you go, pepper in a few notes of brown or pale yellow and define the road. Add light to emphasize the perspective taper. If there's clean blue left on your brush, drag a couple of pure blue streaks. They create a great crisp accent against the neutrals. While it's damp here and there, you can still drop a few extra touches. Let it dry again. Front row, the darkest layer, really dense creamy paint. Place those nearest silhouettes boldly. Remember to keep the glowing areas clean. For the lamps, I add a little yellow at the centre and soften outward in a circle. A quick wipe around the glow creates that halo effect. While the painting dries, take a clean synthetic brush and on the water, do a few dry brush horizontal flicks, broken, sparkly lines. If you've got any pure paper whites left, you can add the tiniest touches nearby. That broken texture adds shimmer. When everything is completely dry, add a few fine wires or details with a thin brush. Careful, minimal, and only on bone-dry paper. That's it. A misty, layered cityscape with light, depth and glow. Practice the sky, pace yourself on the layers and enjoy the atmosphere.